Hey everyone, welcome to episode 5 of the World Film Geek Podcast. I am your host, Albert Valentin, aka the World Film Geek. And today I have a very special guest. Her name is Michele Traina. She is a stand-up comic and actress from Jersey who has a new pilot in the works about her life as a divorced mother of a child with special needs and dating men with special needs. And it's called the Divorce Diaries. So welcome, Michele, to the podcast.
Thank you, Albert, for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
So how did this idea come about? When did it all begin? Like, take us back to the beginning of how this all came about.
Okay, so I was 33, then moved back, or actually 32 when I moved back home with my parents and my handicapped dog and my almost 2-year-old who was not speaking. And that's how the idea was set in my brain, because I was living back with my family, my dog, potty training my daughter. My grandmother also lived with us. She was potty training. Unfortunately, she had a diaper that she didn't want to wear. It was just like all jokes. And my family was very loving and supportive. But you have my twin brother also lived there. My parents, my 92-year-old grandmother, me and my daughter, and my handicapped dog. So it's like the Italian Addams family. And I felt like I love reality TV certain reality shows like like Housewives and stuff like that. I love Bravo TV. So I would escape on my phone and watch those shows. And I would envision myself being in a sketched version of the real housewife with no actual house of my life. So I started thinking of Divorce Diaries, and I kept saying the word Divorce Diaries, right? Mm-hmm. And then my background as an actor and I did improv for a couple of years prior to getting married. And I always thought comedy was the route to make other people feel better mm-hmm. about their own lives and circumstances, as opposed to making I love a good cry, but at the end of the day, we want to feel uplifted and not sobbing in the fetal position. I get that enough when I go on dates. So I know. Sorry, I'm trying to fit jokes in it while.
Oh, you're good. No, that's why I'm laughing.
So I'm working new material out in between the description of how this started, but it started when I moved back home to North Jersey, Italian family, and then it continued to develop as I got back up on stage as an actor. Then I started doing stand-up, and it just the ball started rolling that way.
That's awesome. So, speaking of this, you play yourself, obviously, and who else do you got involved? Do you have anyone else involved for sure in this?
No. So the story is basically my post-divorce life, which extends into what my actual life is, and the characters in my life are real people in my life. I mean, now, for purposes, I have to say loosely based off of some of the male characters, some of the female characters are loosely based off of people that I have interacted with in the last 6.5 years of being divorced. You have the school moms, you have the men that I've dated, and you have my coworkers who, I was a teacher, full-time theater teacher for many years because it was a career shift when I got married. And I ended up teaching mostly children with disabilities throughout the school districts and the schools I went. I always ended up being in that frame. They'd always put me more or less in self-contained or inclusion-based classes, which nowadays really a lot of schools have inclusion-based or self-contained. So it's not just general, but I made a joke once where I said in the car driving to work one day, I was like, I teach kids with special needs and I date men with special needs. And that became a big tagline for my jokes with dating. And the men are big parts of a lot of the stories I have with the male love interests are in the story. There's a he's called Mike the cop. He's a character, and Chris is a character who are love interests. And there are more for different seasons. Main characters are myself, my parents, Marianne and Frank, my best friend Doug, and he is the person I've known since I was in high school, who is a filmmaker and a comedian and actor, but he lives in LA. I live in New York, the New York area. And in real life, I've been begging him, hey, you should film my life, like we'll figure it out. And he was coming on the road with me sometimes to do the live version of Divorce Diaries, the comedy show, stand-up comedy show. And so this idea is really a mockumentary of what I've been trying to do in real life, right? So I have my best friend fly out and film me for a couple weeks. And that's the first season, right? The first episode is the first day he films, the first week he films. And then in this season 1, we're developing it where he films me, for a month, and then we decide what to do next. So, I mean, that's where it is. It takes place pre-pandemic. So it takes place in 2019, right? That's how I wanted to create it, so that there were no masks yet. But then, or I think I had said it was going to be to the end of 2018, maybe, I think, before, because I have a pitch deck written now. That, COVID does take place during Divorce Diaries series, but not right away.
That's good. And what I do like is the fact that you are a stand-up comic. And I gotta say, before we got here, I actually started watching your stuff on YouTube, and I was dying. And it feels like you get to incorporate your stand-up comic routine into the show.
Yeah. So the show is, again, like, it's me trying to get my show put on a network. So it's a mockumentary of what's really going on in real life. And that, Doug, as the director of photography in the pilot in the show, he follows me into the club, doing Divorce Diaries live. So it's kind of like just this mirror reflection of what's happening in real life, like The Office, like Parks and Rec, but based really on what's happening. And yeah, my stand-up is about my life. So, some things that happen, like I've made it, it would be in the series. Like I dated a Greek guy, I dated a coach, I dated a cop, a producer who was interested in my show is what triggers me to start filming in the actual television pilot. So when you watch it, I say to the camera, like, the producer thinks I'm all over the place, but told me to get it on tape. And I don't want him to think that I'm all over the place. But in reality, I am all over the place sometimes, and that's what the show captures too, is that she's a mom trying to juggle it all with a lot of tenacity, who, her shard of glass is that she gets, heartbroken by small things, and it sticks with her, and she just wants to fixate on making that right and then gets her distracted on her journey, as she's trying to find the love of her life, as she's trying to make it as an actor, which she always wanted to do. So
yeah, what I like, what does the part with the stand-up comedy, it reminds me of the episodes of Seinfeld. Like every episode starts out with him doing the little stand-up gig. Although that show's about basically nothing, at least yours actually makes more sense than Seinfeld does.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, so that was the other thing when we were editing it, was we weren't intending to have it. So when you do get the whole pilot, there's clips of the stand-up throughout the episode. And it does remind me of Seinfeld too. So like you have a mix of Seinfeld and The Office, but I think for me in the show, I'm not where, like, in Seinfeld, he was like a full-time comic. And yeah. I like to consider myself a full-time comic right now, but I'm doing comedy. I have a theater company. I'm teaching on the side. Like, I'm trying to write this pilot. So it's her struggle, I feel like, to
balance everything. Yeah. For basically balance everything. No, trust me. I think everyone can relate to you in terms of trying to balance so much at once.
Balancing so much at once, and then, how we try to shift ourselves in the identity that we have with, like, fixing our flaws. And like, I think if we were going to reshoot it again at a bigger budget, I would want to showcase more of her trying to work on herself, me as Michele, myself, really. Yeah. Because I'm a very go person, and sometimes I don't take a step to pause, and I think she doesn't do that, and I didn't do that in the pilot. You'll see. Yeah,
that's what I like. I mean, you don't really have much shows where the person who created, like, talks about themselves so much. I mean, we kind of get that with the Goldbergs in a way, the whole 80s vibe, and that was loosely based on parts of his life, but very rarely do we get to see a show about someone's actual life on screen. Like, no, this is what I really go through. And, and I feel like here, I think that's what that's going to be the heart of the show, like just to see you as a human being and not just a character of who you are. Just we get to see the real you in some aspect, and that's exactly what we need more of.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because that's something we were working on with the pitch of that. Like, it's the fact that we don't all fit in the paradigm, and which is, societal norms, being married, staying with one person for the rest of our lives, doing the straight A's and go to Harvard. It's like we don't all fit into that. And even if we try, sometimes it just doesn't work. It's not reality.
Exactly.
And having a working middle class mom juggling, a child, my child has ADHD. She was diagnosed with it. In the show, I don't reveal that right away, but I put it in my pitch deck where she has, a disability, but so do other kids in the story that may not seem like they have a disability, but they have IEPs. They learn differently. Adults, myself, I process differently. And there's a parallel with me and my daughter in the show of like, down the road as I'm rewriting and doing the pitch deck of like a lot of the stuff my daughter goes through on a daily basis, I'm actually still going through as an adult and not learning the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Like letting go, having patience, not trying to, and there's comedy in that, right? Like you'll see me reacting the same way she's reacting. And then there's kind of like, are you getting that? And I'm not. And like I said that the other day, I'm like, oh God, my child is really me.
Yeah.
And there's
I totally relate. Because I too, I'm a divorced dad of 4, and I have special needs kids too. They're on the autism spectrum. And my oldest daughter's 15, and I feel like she's a total, like, the female me, because when I was a kid, I used to recite movie lines like there, here. Now she's doing the same thing, and then I used to give the attitude. Now she's giving me the attitude, so I was like, oh, I totally know how she's feeling. I know how this feels, and I totally relate to that. Hands down, I know what that's like.
Well, that's another goal, is like to be relatable and for people to root for, the character because they see themselves in me. And so, yeah, if there's a duality, right? Like the personal and professional side running up against the same challenges, competing for time, sharing self-doubt and criticism, and providing drive, like me having the drive that moves my life forward. And I think the hard part in communicating that, because there's so much stuff out there, right? There's so many people presenting pilots. There is stuff about, single moms, divorce, parent. There is stuff out there. What I want people to understand that sets it apart is that we don't focus on we don't have this voice, or a voice that focuses on, the day-to-day of the underdog, where we're all an underdog at some point, right? And like, we're on the outskirts, and we're saying that, no, we all connect to this, but we don't see that the people that don't fit into the paradigm, we don't really accept them. And we don't accept them because the people that aren't fitting into the paradigm ourselves, we struggle with acceptance. So acceptance is the overall theme that I've been like really hacking away at, is like acceptance, inclusion, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that pitch hits for somebody, in the higher ups.
In the higher ups of the industry. Yeah. I hope, I don't know if anyone listens to this, but I don't know. But whoever does, I think, I hope they do get wind of this, and that will think, yeah, this might be something we need to check out. Because, and that's what I'm hoping that comes out of this, because I really think everyone needs to be given a chance, and you definitely deserve it, especially after what I saw on YouTube. Because I was. Oh, really? I was literally like, there were a couple of times I was falling out of my seat.
Really? Oh, yeah. I'm so happy to hear that.
Watching the stand-up stuff was hilarious, and we don't get enough stand-up, like good stand-up these days. I mean, you got your famous people, but you got your Kevin Hart's, your Dave Chappelle's, those, and they're already established. They're already like A-list types, but I think there needs to be more talent out there that needs to get recognized, and you're definitely, without a doubt, one of them.
I appreciate that so much, Albert, because I think also shifting at an age where, I shifted in my mid 30s back to acting, and it's like you feel like you lost a lot of time, because there's people that have put in the other time instead of, doing a full-time 9 to 5 job or whatever maybe. But I can't say regret it, because I got to work with kids and doing theater with children that really needed me, and I feel like I served, my community as a teacher. And now I really want to find the love of bringing this story and serving people in a different way.
Yeah.
While I still make mistakes with men and relationships and being a parent, it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I made a face that looks like I'm, am I still like,
Yeah, I know yeah, I definitely know how that is. And it's just funny because watching some of your stand-up stuff, like the stuff you go through, it's like, I like the one I was watching, the skit that you did about the Latin husband, and find out that his wife had busted you, and like, you're talking about my husband, blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh my god, that's so funny. I was
that
like,
really happened. That really, I
yeah.
mean, it sort of loosely, basically happened. Well, that
Yeah,
happened.
let's make sure everything's like loosely based. Let's just say everything's loosely based on.
It's
Yeah.
loosely based on stuff. Well, I did reach out. I have an entertainment lawyer for my show, and who can afford a lawyer? I mean, it's expensive, but like I do have a lawyer that handles my show that's very gracious. But as a comedian, we all do have the First Amendment right, and anybody has the First Amendment right, right?
Mhm.
Freedom of speech. However, there's other things that go along with that, right? Like I don't want someone to say I'm defaming their character or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. I don't want to have my character defamed. So, I create my own, I try to put the two perspectives out there where, yeah, I had a affair with a married man for 2 years. Well, year and a half. I like to say 2 years because it's the longest relationship I've been with since my divorce. How horrible does that sound? But a lot of women and men have fallen into that trap because there's something in that relationship that they're getting, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I ever like, so and I feel horrible towards the woman. Like I do. I feel like I should have been better. I should have been smarter about it. I never want to hurt another woman like that. But I had to take the joke of like, all right, damn lady, like, what did she say? He just slept. You just, he just wanted to use you for sex. He just used you for sex. You're the free chocha. I created some of these jokes. She didn't say that.
Right.
Well, actually, she did say that. She didn't say chocha, but she said I was the free pussy. And I was like, well, I'd like to think I'm at least on clearance because he paid for a few meals. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, that's funny. Yes, I like that. I like when people base their real life experiences into their acts. I think it's pretty funny, and and or things like you experience, like you notice stuff and you have to make a joke about it. Like I've been wanting to say this joke for a while, and one's like, does anyone ever watch a boxing match on TV? Does anyone notice that like the audience watching the TV is more excited than the ones actually at the boxing match? Like half the time you see them watch on their cell phones, or they're just like sitting there all bored, like when nothing's exciting. Like my mom, if you watch a boxing match with her, it's like she's more excited than the audience. I swear to God, she is.
I have many men that have actually watched either I date them or talk to them. They're like, oh, there's a good game. There's a match on. I can't. And I'm like, what the fuck? So they're so excited to sit in front of their television and watch it. And I want to be like, you realize you're not fighting in it, right? So, and that's okay. But yes, I have seen that. And that's funny because, yeah, people get so like even tailgates, right? Like it is fun. It is exciting, but it's like, but you're not, but yeah, they get more excited to be at home watching it. Like Sunday fun day.
Yeah, like, yeah, let's watch the game. And like, they're going, go, 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 go. But then you see the audience and they're just like, like they're just like, they look bored.
I'm gonna look for that from now on. I'm actually curious.
Just like same thing. And again, I gotta make another joke about my mom. I love her, but she does the funniest things. And one is, you cannot watch an action movie with her. because she sounds like she's watching a boxing match. She starts saying, she watches like, let's say Jean-Claude Van Damme fight, and she's like, get him, that's it, got him. No, you're not. I'm like, Mom, it's a movie. You're not watching a boxing match. Stop. You're not watching. This is not the UFC. I'm just
right. And also, like, you know, I love that you want to tell a joke about your mom. It's because we love the people that are close to us. We have these jokes about them because of their idiosyncrasies, and you know, it's part of your life, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I make jokes about my mom all the time, and I love her, but it's like,
she does stuff that just makes you want to say something. Like, you just gotta let it out. Like, seriously, I've had people, like, I tell them this stuff, and they start cracking up, and they're like, really, your mom does that? I'm like, you have no idea. And we're talking a Puerto Rican mother, so you know how that is. So the Latina mother, she's like, at times we watched one movie, and some guy's leg gets broken, and she's cringing, and then I look over at my 93-year-old grandmother, and she's laughing, but I think she's laughing more at my mom because of the cringe face.
well, and right. I mean, I dated a lot of Puerto Rican guys. Not a lot, but majority. Like, she say a lot, like not like 25, but the last couple have been Puerto Rican. The last two were Puerto Rican, and then the last one was Cuban. So, and then the two before that were Puerto Rican. So I have a thing for Latin guys. So I do. You probably saw the material.
Yeah, I
like,
saw that.
They tell about their moms and how their moms are, and I'm a mom, and I get it, and I grew up in Italian men are like this too with their moms, right? Like,
yep.
But I do bits about like these men with these mommy daddy issues, like, and I'm not saying you are, because I love the fact that you're poking fun at some of the stuff your mom does. Some of the guys I did, we're like, that's my mom, you can't talk about her like that.
Yeah, like, no, I'm like that too, but my mom does have a good sense of humor. I'm making fun of her. Like, she's like, shut up. She like, that's the great. She has like the great sense of humor. I think one time I heard her over here and saying, I don't know what car I want to get, and all of a sudden I just peeked my head out. I go, you're gonna get a Pinto, and she looked at me. She goes, shut up. Like,
love it.
So I got that smart aleck. I get that smart aleck humor from it just comes out of me sometimes. It's like,
yeah, gotta go with it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. So you got a show coming up by Chicago. So you want to tell us a little about that, where you're going to be? And
100%. So I am coming up to Aurora, actually. I always say Chicago, but it's actually in the suburb. But I've been doing Divorce Diaries traveling since 2018, and I was in Chicago in 2019, and I am excited to go back. I am doing the show at the Comedy Shrine in Aurora, and you know, I hope that the Sleeping Beauty town wakes up and buys their tickets. You know what I mean? Like, they are great out there, and I just want my tickets to go through the roof and people to have fun at the show.
Yep. And definitely. And people, you all need to subscribe to Michelle's YouTube channel. She's just got slightly a few more subscribers than I do, but because I checked our numbers, we're pretty close, but we both need to get more subscribers. So I will put the link to Michelle's YouTube video in the video portion of this on YouTube. And
we'll subscribe to your channel now. So you're subscribed to WorldFilmGeek is subscribed.
Yep, and I'm already subscribed to Divorce Diaries.
I got the notification. I woke up and I was like, oh, all right, yes.
Yep, I was like, I gotta watch some of this. I even watched your What Men Want thing last night, and I was cracking up.
Wait, so did you like so that one, I know that What Men Want is like so obvious, but like I did a reel on it and it got a lot of views. Like, I figured that one was gonna get, but then, you know, some of these hit or miss, you know, they hit or miss.
It happens. I'll get like maybe one view or a couple of views on interviews, but then I used to do like action trivia videos, and like one on a female action star, I got like 30K views. I'm like, whoa. But that's not even half of it. My son does my animation and gaming videos, and one of his first animation videos got 52,000 views. So I'm like, dude, really? So
that's awesome. You can learn from him and what his whatever thing is working.
I know. I was like, how do you do this? I like, how are you getting so many views with this? He's like, it's what everyone likes, Dad. They like Minecraft. And I'm like, yeah, they do.
Well, and so then maybe you do something with that kind of, like, for me, I know it's like, I don't even know, the Real Housewife video I sent got a lot of views, but then another one didn't. So it's all like consistency. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I think that with regards to the views and followers and even the pilot, like, because a lot of people won't look at my pilot if they know I only have 365 now. Thank you. 365 subscribers, that's it. You need to have 30,000 at least.
Oh, I
So
know. Do that all the time. Like you need at least this many to get, so you can get. I'm like, no, just keep plugging, man. Just keep plugging, get it out there. And you never know. You never know who's gonna watch it, and we're interested. Let's do this.
right, I think that the journey, and I've been starting to try to, or not starting, I've been trying to accept that, like, I have to just be in the moment more than I have been, and then accept that, if I can wake up and do what I love to do, that's half the battle right there. So.
Oh, that's how I feel. I've been doing this part for 6 years, and I've been writing for 20. So I've been writing my films
Oh,
for
that's
20.
awesome.
So I've been doing World Film Geek for 6 years now. So I know how that feels, and I'm just beginning. I feel like I'm still just beginning. I mean, the podcast was something new I started this year alone, and we're already on episode 5, and so I'm pretty stoked about it.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Happy to be a part of it.
Yes, me too. I'm happy that you're a part of it. I'm happy with all the guests I gotten so far, but it's just, like I said, it's just the beginning, and we're going to do more down the road. So we'll go from there. And everyone, if you get a chance, if this pilot comes out, you all got to see it, the Divorce Diaries. Check out Michele's YouTube channel. I'm going to put the link down, and also check out her TikToks. And yeah, we're going to put everything in so you can follow her. She definitely needs that recognition. She deserves it. She's busted her butt, and literally. And
I followed up times.
And I hope everyone has an amazing Thanksgiving, because we are close to Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope everyone has a special Thanksgiving. And Michele, you are awesome. And you definitely got to come back on here in a future episode. We're definitely, once everything gets off the ground, let's get you back on here. Let's do a follow-up. And
Yes.
it's going to be a blast. And we'll still crack jokes at our mothers and do whatever. So it's all great.
Thank you, Albert, for having me. And this was a great opportunity, and I thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you. And everyone, you take care and you stay safe. So
Bye.
take care and see ya.